Yeah, I do have those moments where backsliding, it happens. So just
Right.
embrace it. Yeah.
There you go. Give yourself grace and then just move forward.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the tips and things that you share. Everyone's going to have a different journey. Everyone's going to be, have different environments and things around them. But what are some things that you share in terms of someone that is starting their journey? What are
Yeah.
some of those key important tips that you share?
Well, I'd say number one, just you want to plan for success, right? Set yourself up for success. So, and that could look like meal prepping. That could look like, excuse me, a number of things. But what I really think is hugely important. Excuse me, I was waiting to get that burp out. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
What's hugely important is to watch your mental diet, right? So, and that's whatever your whatever content you're consuming. So, I let's make it easy and start by following people who look the way you want to look,
Mhm.
following people who are kind of preaching about a certain lifestyle that you want to live, watching podcasts and things like that, watching documentaries. I remember going vegan. I watched a documentary about lentils. It was
Okay.
it was like an hour long, and it was just cool and fascinating. But it was just more incentive to stay the course for me,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we have to do those things, kind of clear out the bad stuff and start to consume that content. Start following and subscribing to podcasts that talk about health and wellness. And to name a few, like Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu. I always have followed Eric Thomas since he came out. Et the Hip Hop Preacher. Uh,
Mhm.
Guys like Bricks Fitness. I've been following him for years now. So you start to kind of create that little ecosystem, that kind of just helps you get there.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay. Now, what if someone says, you know what, being a vegan is just too expensive? Now I got to eat organic. I got to do this.
right.
What do you say for those that come at you with that?
It's honestly no more expensive overall than any other lifestyle. I go to the grocery store all the time, and you see people's baskets filled with everything under the sun, but some leafy greens, right? Because you would see them on the top because they're not going to smash the leafy greens and the vegetables and the fruits and things like that. So, guys, I mean, and I, a lot of times I just find that people make arguments that they usually hear argued,
Okay.
right? Like, oh, it's too expensive,
Right.
right? I think it is. No. So I mean, we all, we have Kroger and Meyer here. So
Okay.
like a bushel of kale. So you got dino kale, you got normal kale, red kale, you got collard greens. Well, all of these things, $2 or $3, and that could make two different meals. You can get a big bag of brown rice. You can get a big bag of quinoa. And
Mhm.
those things, yeah, the quinoa is a bit more expensive, maybe $6 or $7, but that's 5 to 10 servings of that. And I like to just kind of start off making like big bowls of mess, I call them, but you get all of your nutrients. So you're getting your grains, which are quinoa or brown rice or farro, bulgur wheat, things like that. And then you always add a leafy green, so that could be a container of spinach or kale mix.
Right.
Add that. You can get a can of organic beans, another $1 or $2 at the most,
Mhm.
and then you throw in your leafy greens, you throw in your beans and your grains, and you got what you need.
Right.
So it's not crazy expensive. You can go to Aldi to get ingredients for smoothies,
Mhm.
mixed berries, things like that, bananas, what have you. Get you some chia seeds. Get like a mixed nut bag, things like that. You're getting your protein. So it's not crazy. It's just we spend money on what we value.
Ooh, I was just having that conversation not too long ago. We sure do. Between
Yep.
our time and our money, we put it
It,
on where we want to put it.
that's exactly right. So if we prioritize our health, then no, it's not expensive.
Wow. Now, what are some, I always like to ask this question, what are some of your favorite ingredients that you make sure that you have in the house at all times?
Right, right. So garlic we're never out of garlic. So that's
Absolutely.
That's one. I usually use either pink Himalayan sea salt or some type of sea salt to kind of just help season food.
Mhm.
Um, those are my main go-tos. I'm really big on dill lately.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
really love dill seasoning. So that's another one. I like to keep smoked paprika in the
Okay.
house as
Good,
well.
good
It
one.
adds a nice little variance to the food. And other than that, I may have some type of cultural kind of spice or something. I haven't been able to find it in a while, but it was the African seasoning. I believe it's pronounced Burberry or
Yes, and I got one for you. We just
yeah.
featured someone. She's based in Virginia. So,
Really? Oh yes, let me know because that I started to put that on everything and it got bad. But
yeah, before when we get off, I'll definitely share her site with you. I just was
please do.
corresponding with her last night with her spices from Ethiopia.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Thank
Now,
you.
how are you? What are you teaching your daughter in terms of these habits now? Because that's important.
Yes, it really is. So right now, we're in a co-parenting situation, right? So there's only so much control that I have. But understanding that, and this is just a life thing, it's a parenting thing. You start to only worry about what you can control and
Mhm.
when you can control it.
Right.
So I think the biggest angle right now for my daughter and I, and it's just balance,
Mhm.
and that's the biggest thing because her I'm a guy who struggles with weight, and so she just by that 50% size, she has kind of the fat gene, right? So this is a real thing. I would read about it before she was born and things like that. So it would just be that much more difficult for her to kind of just maintain her weight even. So right now I just try not to put any emphasis on weight and what she's eating. So sometimes it may just be, hey, this is what you're going to eat today and I'm not explaining it. It's
Mhm.
not because you need to get to this point or this is healthy, that's not. I just try to show her balance. And the biggest thing we can do, I believe, as parents is to lead by example.
Right.
So when she sees me taking walks, when she sees me exercising, kids kids do what you do, not what you say.
Absolutely.
Right?
And
So,
they're
so
watching. They are
they're
watching you.
always watching. So yeah, they're getting down in the floor, they're doing some fake push-ups or whatnot, and because daddy does it or because
Right.
mommy does it, um, so I'd say the biggest thing is just to lead by example, and that's what I'm trying to do. She sees me in there cooking, she sees the love in the house and she feels it, and right now that's just, in my opinion, the best thing for her. And then we can get more technical as she gets older and things like that. But yeah.
Well, I saw something on Facebook the other day, and it was basically saying that now that I'm an adult, mom was right about everything.
That's it. Right.
Right about
Give mama her props.
mom was right about everything.
Right
So,
about everything.
so you plant those seeds now, and then they're there definitely.
And
As
that's the
you know,
thing. Yeah.
they're
And we'll reap a harvest later. But right now
absolutely.
we're just sowing.
Wow. So what is the secret sauce to your social media pages and just the followers? What are they enjoying, the content that you're putting out there, and share more about that content.
Sure. So and that's this. I could do a lecture on this, which I've recently done, and I just finished yesterday. I did a video on like storytelling and ways to tell stories because again, I started out as a visual storyteller, and I just turned the camera on myself. So these things I knew what I was doing. Um, so my first video to go viral was a video about I called it the ultimate detox or the ultimate cleanse, and it's a cleanse with bentonite clay, activated charcoal, psyllium husk, juice from a lemon, and chia seeds and distilled water. Right.
Wow.
So I started out with that. That's something I always knew about, and the only reason I really posted it is because it got deleted from YouTube. And I'm
Oh,
like, it was somebody on YouTube. They posted it, and I'm like, when I posted it, I said, I don't know the person who did this, but here's something for you guys, and it went viral, and I believe hit over 2 million views at this point now.
wow.
So I'll never forget. I went to bed and I tried to go to bed, and my phone kept vibrating, kept vibrating. I'm like, this is crazy. I woke up to like over 100,000 views, but I'd say as far as my social media success,
Mhm.
it's number one. You have to have some charisma. You got to have some energy, because if you're not energetic or enthusiastic about what you're talking about, then why should I be? You
Right.
know, if I'm as a viewer, why would I even believe what you're talking about if it doesn't feel like you do? So that's number one. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a student of the game. I'm
Mhm.
always, I'm listening to health podcasts. I was just listening to Sean Stevenson on impact theory, taking my walk this morning, so I'm always trying to stay up to date on things and just gain knowledge in this space. So of course, be a student of the game, be enthusiastic, and bring energy.
Right.
That's because at the end of the day, we only have people's attention for maybe 3 seconds,
Mhm.
especially on an app where it's full of content and all we got to do is flick our thumb, right? So bring energy, and you probably want to make a cut or talk about something different every 3 to 5 seconds. That's about the window you have before you make at least a visual jump cut
Okay.
or you switch a topic. So with those things and consistency, because as cliche as it sounds, consistency is key. Then now you're cooking with hot grease, as they say.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what projects are you working on? What I know we're about to roll out of 2022 and into 2023, but what are
Yeah.
some things you got cooking?
Right, right. I like that. So, well, right now I'm working on an ebook that I've kind of been working on a while, just something to kind of help people transition to a plant-based lifestyle. Just let people know that it's really easy. It's as easy as we make it. Um, and also launching my own podcast
Nice.
pretty soon here. It'll be called Let's Live Long. That's something I kind of started saying, like I'd end videos with "Let's live long," and I'll see y'all at the top.
Okay.
So doing that and starting to really kind of also share the stories of other people who have had extreme weight loss, other people, and I wanted to really just encompass everything that has to do with longevity, and not just that, but quality of life.
Mhm.
And that could be talking to a dietitian, that could be talking to a spiritual leader, or a yoga instructor, things like that. So just really kind of trying to help share the stories and use my platform to also, give others a voice.
Okay, all right. And my final question is, what do you want your legacy to be?
Well, that's a good one. um, I'd like my legacy to just be a person who tried to get a little bit better every day, who was always looking for knowledge and looking for, just looking for the extra inches, and not just for to have an advantage or anything like that, but just to have a life well lived. So if I'm not listening to Bishop TD Jakes, I'm listening to Eric Thomas for some motivation, and I'm again listening to impact theory for some knowledge, or I'm listening to an audio book while I'm driving to work. And so this month I may be working on being a little bit more on time or being early, and this month I may be cutting out coffee, and so it's life is ever changing. And again, I was listening to Bishop TD Jakes just last night, but the message was just stay steady in the storm.
Mhm.
And why give up? Why sulk in a storm that may be so severe? Because the reality is the storm ain't gonna stop. Like they're gonna keep coming.
Right.
So why set yourself back? And that's the thing. Like what he said was, whatever you were doing before the storm, get back to that.
Right.
And that's the thing. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, Cartier, thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate it. It's a
it's been a
pleasure hearing
pleasure.
your story. Tell our listeners where they can find you.
Yes, everybody can find me. It's at Vegan Black Guy on all social platforms. And this Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. So at Vegan Black Guy. I'm always trying to share health and wellness knowledge. I'm sharing my journey as well. And yeah, come along for the ride.
Awesome, awesome.